All right, hey guys, my name is Maneesh Sethi, and I'm super excited to be here today. I've been giving this presentation for a few weeks, and today is the first time I'm doing it online for all of my subscribers. So, if you don't know me from before, my name is Maneesh Sethi. I'm a digital nomad, the #1 digital nomad. Today, I'm coming at you live from Fair Oaks, California, my parents' house. I don't come here very much. I'm very rarely in the U.S., but for the first time, I'm back. I've been giving this presentation, as I mentioned, at Stanford University. I gave it last week, and I've been giving it for private clients, and it's been a big hit. People like the idea of being able to take advantage of the system, and the system is changing. Things are a bit different than they used to be, and it's a really interesting time. And one of the things that I noticed is that the more that you play the game, the more you lose, but the more you try to go at a different angle against the game, the more fun it is. So I'm going to show you guys a cool photo. This is me and Tim Ferriss. This is when I DJ'd a party for Tim Ferriss at a club in Berlin, Germany. And the funny thing is that most people think it's really hard to get a DJ gig. But today we're going to be talking about how I was able to get not just one DJ gig, but over 12, I believe 12 or 13 in less than 3 months, while I was trying to prove that I could become a DJ in Berlin in just 90 days. So today, let's see what we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about the system and how to beat the system, and then specific techniques about it. So first of all, we're going to be talking about defining what the system is. What exactly are the things that we can compete against? And then we're going to be talking about your mentality. How do you, once you understand that there is a system, how do you change your mentality and shift it to actually attack that system and actually exploit it? And that's what we're going to be talking about in this webinar. And lastly, I'm going to look at specific techniques that I've used. I don't have everything I've ever done because I spend most of my time trying to compete against the system rather than actually doing normal things. So I'm going to give you guys a nice little list of concrete ways that you guys can take advantage of the system. So let's start off with the system. What is it? What core beliefs have you never ever questioned? The system is basically what is all around us. It's the cage that surrounds us that none of us understand. My friend once explained to me, he told me a really interesting thing. He was very, very drunk, and he thought he was being very insightful, like he always is. But this time he actually was insightful. He said something to me that made me really, really think differently for the rest of my life. And what he said was, "Hey man, Maneesh, listen, I got this cat. And this cat walks around all day. This cat's never going to understand what a road is or what an economic system is or how things work outside of his little 6x6 cage in my apartment. How do we know that we just don't understand what's going on outside of where we are? How do we know that we aren't just basically the way that I took it was that he's right. There's a system that's happening beyond us that we don't understand." And the thing that made me realize this was this conversation. I started to think about, what if I started to look at the world differently? What are some of the core beliefs that I've never questioned, that I've just accepted as true? This cat might believe that he's the king of his world and that world is all that exists. Well, what else exists in this system? What else exists? So this is the box. This is the box that you're in. And inside this box is all of your core beliefs and everything you've ever thought and things that you don't even realize that are just intrinsic inside of you. So here are some examples of core beliefs that most people in America, especially Americans, believe. Things like, it's always better to own a home. Maybe, go to college. It's the best thing for your future. Money and success. More money is always better. Money is equivalent to success, right? The flat number is the most important thing. Rashawn and everybody else, is there music coming from in everybody's speakers? Great. Okay, I'll continue. Well, the thing is that times have changed. What used to be true is not always true for today. And when we look at, for example, the last generation, the previous generation, people who are older than us, our parents and our uncles and everybody who tell us to go to college or tell us that we should be living in a specific way or tell us that they're wise because of their elder years, the fact is that things are changing faster today than ever before. Things are changing way faster today than they ever have changed in the history of time. And the way that people live their lives and the ideologies that people had 20, 30, 40 years ago, even 10, 5 years ago, don't apply anymore today. For example, just 3 or 4 years ago, I was sitting down in Brazil on a bed, talking to my dad on Skype, face to face, across time zones, across countries, and I realized that something like that has never, ever, ever been possible. People could not communicate via Skype for free, face to face, until less than 10 years ago. And things are crazy. My first year at college, nobody had laptops, and I brought the first laptop in my dorm. And it was a 340 megahertz processor. This was in 2005, guys. Things are like changing extremely fast, so you can't always accept what people tell you, especially what your elders tell you. So for this reason, I'm going to show you exactly some of the examples of how things have changed. It's always better to own a home, right? Well, then there was a giant housing crisis. Housing crisis showed that maybe rents won't always increase, maybe your mortgage will increase, and maybe people will lose money if they continue to buy a house. Things have changed. Well, going to college. College costs have risen much faster than the income that people are earning. In the 70s, it was possible for a student to go and earn money during the summer and pay for college. Now it costs way more. A portfolio is now more effective than a degree. Everybody has a bachelor's degree. So when your grandparents or your parents or your uncles tell you that you need to go to college because a bachelor's degree is the minimum thing that you must have to prove that you are doing well, that all employers look for it, no. Employers look for it when they were going to college. It's not always the same today. If you can show a GitHub profile or show a website that has all of the work that you've done, it's much more likely to be effective than just having a piece of paper from a bad university, you know? Lastly, more money equals better. Usually, money is a good indicator of success. It's not the main important thing, but it is a good idea if you're doing well or if you're doing poorly. But there is another part of that equation. What if we cut our costs and cut our living expenses? We could earn the same amount of money and not have to spend as much. It's a different way of looking at the system. And this is a quote that really affected me. Once in a while, it really hits people that don't have to experience the world in the way that they've been told to. It just takes one seed. I wrote an article about this last week called about Benihana and coming home and how people should be living their lives in a different way. And the fact is that people don't realize that it just takes one comment, it takes one seed to change your life. And for me, that is exactly what I'm trying to do with my website and my blog. It's that I want to be that seed. I want to be that little spark that influences you guys to realize that there's other ways to live and that you guys can live in a different way that other people just don't understand. The fact is that at the end of this game, people might not understand what you're doing. I can't have a single conversation with my family where I'm not questioned for every single thing I do. But at the end of the day, they're going to a 9-to-5 that they hate, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So that's how it goes. So let's talk a little bit about your mentality. What do you need to do to get here? What do you need to do to find your niche, to find what you want to do, and to take advantage of this system? The first thing is you have to realize one important fact, that you can have anything that you want. You just can't have everything. And that's really an interesting fact. People these days tend to think about everything they want. They want to win the lottery so that they can buy a limousine, they can buy a Ferrari, they can fly everywhere in the world, they can buy houses all over the world. The fact is, if you want to become a pilot and own a plane, you can own a plane and become a pilot. You might not be able to afford a house, you might not be able to afford a car, you might not be able to afford children, but you can get that plane, you know? If it's the one thing that you want, it's what you want, and you can get it. The fact is, you just got to choose what you want. What is your dream? And you got to say it with me now. It is really possible. It is possible to do what you want. You just have to understand that you can get there. It's not going to be easy. It takes work, but you can get there. So the trick is, how do you get there? Well, the first step is don't listen to naysayers. Naysayers are the ones who are going to be telling you that what you're doing is stupid, that you guys should be doing the safe thing of getting a regular job, the safe thing that doesn't that isn't safe anymore, but it was safe maybe 20 years ago. You understand what I mean? You have to compromise and decide what you really want, because what you want is not because what you really want is something you can get, but it's not everything. You know, you can't have everything. So really, the question is, what do you want? What do you really, really want? There's a lot of ways to think about this, and the way that I found it, because my life has been interesting, and deciding what I wanted has always been a very difficult decision for me, because I've had so many ideas. I've been jumping around, and I keep starting things, and I don't always finish things, and that's a pretty common concern, I'm sure, for most of you guys. But what I've noticed is that deciding what my passions are, deciding what I really want to do, is by determining what excites me, what like really really excites me, like really excites me. Do you know what I mean? It's very rarely that you guys will experience something that really, really, really excites you, and it's very, very rare. And probably most of you have never experienced something like this. But really, there's a feeling that comes. It doesn't happen. It's only happened to me 2 or 3 times in my life. Just when I start doing something, when I started DJing, and I DJed my first set, and I got my paycheck, and it was 3 a.m., and I'd been there for 6 hours, and they're like, okay, we're done. And I said, no, leave me here. I just want to keep doing this. I don't care about the money. Just let me stay. That was the first time I'd ever felt like that in a long, long time. And that was a really important feeling of excitement. And that is what I'm talking about. If you can think about one of those times in your past where you were doing something that you were completely involved in, focused, you didn't check your phone, if you got a text message, you didn't pick it up, that's the kind of moment that you want to think about those things that you want to do. Because those things are things that will become your passions. And most passions can be monetized in some way if you want to make it support the rest of your lifestyle. Now, now let's talk about a little bit about how you get there. Dreamlines. This is something that's straight out of Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. I use this a little bit. I do use a 6-month plan. I use the getting things done method of 50,000 miles. What do I want to be in 10 years? 40,000 miles. Where do I want to be in 5 years? Building an annual review every year and deciding exactly which goals I'm going to pursue and how I'm going to get there. So this is an example of a Dreamline. It's a PDF from the 4-hour work week website, and it says, in X amount of months, I'm dreaming of A, B, C, D, E. What do I really want? What's the cost? How much time will it take to get there? What do I have to do to get there? And then exactly what expenses I have currently, and what steps do I need to do today, tomorrow, and the day after. And the truth is, guys, the reason why most people here aren't achieving their goals, whatever it is, passive income, I'm seeing women and travel, whatever reason you guys are having for not achieving it, it's because you're not getting started. It's not a matter of planning. All of us can plan all day long. It's really easy to sit down with a moleskin and write down, oh, I'm going to do this for the next 6 months. But it's not about what I'm going to do for the next 6 months. The truth is, what are you going to do right now? That's the question. And it's been really, really rare to, it's a rare thing when you find something that you really want to do, and it's even rare to find people who find what they want to do and then make an effort to get there. And that's what I want to talk about. So the thing is, you first have to fix yourself. How are you going to figure out once you've figured out what you want, once you've built your dream line, let's say you decided you want to travel, and in 6 months you want to go travel around the world. Well, how are you got to raise money. So you fill out your dream line, you realize you need to raise, $6,000 for this trip. How are you going to get there? Well, the first thing is that focus is important. And I did not understand what focus meant until the last few weeks, really. I've always been a little bit distracted. Call it ADD, call it laziness, call it procrastination, whatever you want. I've always been distracted. And I didn't understand why that was happening until I was in the wild. I was in the wilderness for the month of October. I spent 28 days hiking through the Utah desert with a group of, we started off with 12 and we ended up with 9. People quit. It was 15 to 20 miles of hiking a day, eating less than 1,200 calories a day. I lost 25 pounds in 1 month. And the truth is that for 5 days, I sat in a solo location. I was alone by myself in a cave. I cut my hand up real bad. Didn't have any food because I couldn't make fire. But what I did have was a pen and a moleskin journal. And I sat down and I realized that I felt like writing. And I started writing. And I wrote from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. when the light stopped, every day, all day. And the fact was that I loved it. I loved what I was doing. I've been trying to write every day for the last year or two, and I haven't been able to do it. And I sat down in the wilderness, and for 4 days I was writing 3,000 words a day. I wrote more than I ever have in probably my entire life. And the fact is, it was a lack of distractions. There was no distractions anywhere in the world. It was just me, a pen, and a moleskin, and a little bit of water, and that was all I had. The truth was, you need to figure out how to destroy your distractions. And it's really hard in our society today to get away from distractions. So when you figure out your goal, how do you get there? You have to destroy distractions. And I swear to God, distractions today with the internet, it's the worst period that we've ever had in our entire life. Like, it's so easy to alt tab, to go to a new website, to use Facebook. Hell, while I was making this presentation, if I had focused on it, I probably would have finished it in a third of the time. But because I had social media, Twitter, Growl notifications coming up, how do we destroy these distractions? It's really hard. There are really good techniques that I can talk about if people are really interested, and that I will show if people are interested. But things like using applications that shut off your internet, using Freedom is a great app that will shut off your internet. Like James is talking about unplugging, and unplugging is true. Like, if you take away your computer, if you take a pen and go to a coffee shop, you'll get a lot of work done, right? But how come it's so hard to get yourself to that coffee shop? It's really easy to say, oh, all I have to do is go outside and run for 1 minute, and then it's easy to run for 30 minutes, right? But that 1 minute is so hard. The truth is, you have to develop a habit, and developing habits is really hard. But the way that I like to do it is to completely build a different system. I had a friend tell me 2 weeks ago, when I was talking about trying to figure out a way to improve my habits with X, Y, and Z. He said, Maneesh, listen, why are you fighting so hard against your habits? Like, you are unattentive on these things. You don't want to do these things. Why are you fighting against it? I'm like, because I need to get these things done. I need to figure out this problem. And what he told me was really interesting. He said, why fight against it? Instead, build a system around yourself that allows you to have this bad habit, but still solves the problem. And I thought about it, and I was like, very, very interested. That was a really interesting problem. So the things that I started hating, the things that I realized that I really don't like to do, I started outsourcing. I started building a system that allows me to do something to do what I really care about. So focusing and destroying distractions are really important. And the last part about fixing yourself in this situation, about trying to take advantage of the system, is actually figuring out these weaknesses in the system, looking at what's going wrong, and looking at ways that you can achieve your dreamline, looking at ways that you can achieve your goals while looking at the system and seeing what's going wrong with it. So fixing yourself is extremely important, and focus, distractions, and these looking for weaknesses are really important. Now the next step, of course, is finding others. I didn't realize how important other people were until I started finding other people. I sat down for months and years trying to do a bunch of projects, but because it was just me and nobody else really cared, it was really easy to postpone it and not pay attention and just give up. But when I found others who were as interested in the project as I was, that was the huge change that really changed my life. I really, really recommend you guys look for other people who are doing interesting things. Other people are as important as you are. They are the ones who are going to make this real. You know what I mean? So the trick is, you guys have to figure out what the right community is and where are these people going to come from. Who are these people going to help you do? Where are you going to find these people from, and how are they going to help you build a system? I like to find co-founders. I used to think that when I was starting companies that it would be better if I did it myself because I would make all of the money or whatever. But the fact is that a huge piece of a pie that barely exists is not nearly anything as half of the cake of a big pie. Do you know what I mean? It's really, really important to find other people who are doing similar things to you. And with the internet today, it's easier than ever before. But the truth is that the internet is not enough. You need to find real people. Real people are going to be what makes a difference to you. I like to go and find other founders in every city that I'm doing and meet up with them every day at 9 a.m. if possible. Get together, have a Skype chat or have a real chat, get coffee, and then work together and egg each other on. That's really, really, really important. Finding the right community is really important. So you can go to meetups. You check out meetup.org or meetup.com. Check out Couchsurfing. I found a lot of my best friends through there who've been interested in things like this. Talking to real friends and friends of friends, going to Facebook groups and finding forums of things that are really, really interested. Of people that are doing interesting things. And this has been the biggest change in my life. In fact, finding other people who are helping me do something and can contribute to a project has been the biggest change in my life. So I'm going to be talking about specific examples in a few moments, but I wanted to ask you guys if you had any questions so far. Everyone's pretty clear? All right. How do you spot a co-founder versus wannabes? That's a great question because everybody can talk the talk, but who can walk the walk? Honestly, it is an enormous problem. Finding the right people who are going to help you build your business is incredibly difficult. And basically, there's a lot of interviewing techniques. Finding the right people. I like to work with people for periods of time and see how they interact with me in a situation. Like I work with people and I focus on it for a month or two and see what's going on until I figure out if they're actually going to keep their word. I like to set a big schedule. I use a website called Asana, ASANA.com, and I see exactly what I build tasks for both of us to do. I like to take the lead on projects, build a task, make sure that they're assigned tasks, and then if they don't achieve their tasks over and over and over again, then I just drop them. Like it's not worth it. You have to be ruthless with cutting off people who are not helping you. Can you give us another example of building around a bad habit? Sure, a very easy example. If you are somebody who drinks a lot, for example, if you're an alcoholic, you want to make sure that there's no alcohol in your house. If you're somebody who's trying to quit smoking, you're going to be getting rid of all of the cigarettes in your house. These are very basic facts. So things like if you're planning on, for example, here's a great one. I wanted to lose weight. I was really hoping to lose a little bit of weight. So instead of trying to go to the gym and never making it there or putting on, trying to run a little bit, I jumped in the wild. I realized once I'm in the wilderness for 28 days, there's no chance. There's no choice. You're going to be stuck and you're going to lose that weight. The weight was not really the most important part of this trip that I did, but it was one of the big pros, one of the reasons I went. So like looking for ways to jump hardcore, face first into the task so that there's no way you can get out of it. That's the way I like to do things, building a system like that. Yeah, Robert, I'll be talking a little bit about monetizing and keywords. Yes, of course. Okay. I'm going to answer a few more questions before I move on and talk about specific techniques. The first thing was how do you find balance? I haven't found balance, and that's an impossible. That's really difficult. Finding balance is very hard. I like Sebastian Marshall's method of circles. I believe he calls them circles. And what he talks about is he builds 3 periods of the day. The first part of the day is growth, where he looks for ways to improve his system. Like he'll spend that time doing things like working on his business, sending out networking emails, things like that. His second part of his day is maintenance, where he talks about paying off his credit card bills, going to the gym, things like that. And the third part of his day is living, where he goes outside and stays away from work, and he separates into 3 parts. I think that finding the right place, the right system, the right focus is really hard, but it's all about habits. Alex, you're asking me how long this is going to run. I'm going to keep going until it ends. It'll probably be, until 7:15 or so. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on, you guys, and we'll come back to questions a little bit later. But let's go ahead and talk about some specific examples. And what I'm going to talk about today is free travel, how to become a famous DJ, how to make €1,000 a night in Berlin, and a little bit about online and passive income. So first of all, free travel. I'm thinking that maybe a few of you have heard a little bit about this, and I'm writing a giant article about this that'll be coming out in the next few weeks. But free travel is really interesting because I've been traveling around the world for the last 4 years, since 2008, and it's been a really interesting trip, and a lot of it's pretty expensive. And once it clicked that I could be traveling without spending any money, it was an easy choice. I was going to start doing that. So basically, free travel in the system that I've used is that, well, here's how it works. Basically, banks understand that Americans are enticed by free rewards. When I first went to my university, the first day there was a pinwheel, one of those circular wheels that you spin, and if you sign up for the credit card, you would win whatever the wheel landed on, which was a free slice of pizza or a free 2-liter bottle of Coke. And people were spinning that freaking wheel. I was like, "Are you guys really clear? Are you really signing up for credit cards because you get a free like 2-liter bottle of Coke? Are you serious?" Americans are enticed by free rewards, free T-shirts, whatever it is. So they give away huge rewards for credit card signups. So how can we exploit this fact? How do we exploit the fact that credit cards are giving away these huge rewards that don't exist in any other country, only in the United States? Well, here's what I did. In the last few months, in the last 16 months, I've earned, as you can see on the bottom right, 450,000 frequent flyer miles, and that's not reflective of the 60 to 90,000 miles that'll be coming in the next few weeks. And I've earned this. I've earned this because I started following a path. I started following another system that was exploiting the system, and that was credit cards and frequent flyer miles. Basically, I started applying for lots of credit cards, and then I canceled them when the awards were credited. Now, this is interesting because people would always ask me, "Is your credit dropping?" Like, Maneesh, you can't do that. You're never gonna be able to get credit again. You're doing the stupidest thing in the world. I've tracked my credit. I have an 818, which is almost perfect. It's at an 850. I've had over 30 cards in the past year or two, and it really has only helped my credit. It hasn't hurt it at all. What I've been doing is basically signing up for specific cards that will give me 20 to 30,000 to 40,000 miles, and I have not been losing the reward. I make sure that I sign up for the cards, wait for the required amount of time, and then cancel once the awards are credited. They don't remove it. Yeah, super interesting. So here's the fact. I've spent a lot of time looking into credit cards, looking into frequent flyer programs, and figuring out exactly which ones will earn me enough money. So I will tell you right now the best cards, and I'll tell you right now the best frequent flyer plans. I'm going to give you a little bit of information. There's 3 frequent flyer alliances. There's Star Alliance, which is United and Continental and U.S. Airways, and then Lufthansa abroad, as well as 10 to 15 other different airlines that travel throughout the world. South African Airways and many others. Then there's One World Alliance, which is American in the U.S., and then it's British Airways, as well as a few others, Cathay Pacific, and many others. And then the last one is SkyTeam, which we're not even going to talk about because they suck, and that's Delta Airlines and Aeroflot and really, really, really crappy awards. So don't worry about that. The 2 that I like to use are One World and Star Alliance, and generally I like to focus on One World because One World allows you for one-way tickets, and they charge the cheapest amount of miles per ticket. So what that means is if you get enough frequent flyer miles, let's say you earn 30,000 miles by signing up for an American Airlines card. Let's say you earn 60,000 miles by signing up for 2 American Airlines cards. You're going to be getting 60,000 miles, which is equivalent to 1.5 round trip airplane tickets from the U.S. to South America or from the U.S. to Europe. So basically, it's 20,000 miles one way from the U.S. to South America or Europe, and each card gives you 30,000 miles. I would sign up for 3 at a time, get 90,000 at a time, which is a lot of miles. I would cancel the cards, and basically I would quickly earn hundreds of thousands of miles each year. You saw my most recent count was 450,000 miles. So here are the best cards that you guys can use for earning money. The first one is a Starwoods American Express card, which gives you 25,000 points. That's 25,000 Starwoods points. So when you turn those into a frequent flyer mile, they give you 25% bonus. So if you transfer 40,000 miles, you get an extra 10,000 miles. The cool thing is that this works on any airline that you want it to. It'll transfer over to anything. So this is my go-to card. It works at all times. I use it for everything. Then my other cards are the Citibank American Express cards, which you can get by going to Sethi Cards, CITICARDS.com, and sign up for one of these cards. They'll give you 30,000 miles after you spend $750 in 4 months. So you can just PayPal your friend. Back in the day, I would buy dollar coins from the U.S. Mint. So I'd spend $750 on my credit card, get a big box of coins, take that box of coins to the bank, and then they would give it back to me. I would earn the miles instantly without spending $1. Now I just use it. I'll explain that again. Hitch. I would buy from the U.S. government. I would buy dollar coins because they're trying to spread coins throughout the world and throughout the U.S. And I would go ahead and buy it with my credit card, and then I would take those coins to the bank and just use that to pay off my bill. But today they've made it so you can't do that anymore, unfortunately. And the last thing is the Continental United cards. They give you 40,000 miles and you don't have to spend a single dime. They give it to you right away. So those are good ones to start off with if you'd like. These are the first 3 cards that I'd recommend for anybody. And you guys can go ahead and try these out. I can send out links if people are interested later on for all of these cards. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next thing. Does anybody have any questions about credit cards before I move on? Hitch, I do know something a little bit about Canadian cards. They don't have very many deals. The one deal they do have that is awesome that I've been trying to save up forever is the Air Canada's deal, which is part of the United Star Alliance. Air Canada is really, really interesting because they have a very cool redemption offer. I spend way too much time thinking about frequent flyer miles, but they this redemption is that if you book a first class ticket, which is 100,000 miles anywhere in the world, they allow you to choose the way that you're routing your trip. So what this means is, let's imagine that you have 100,000 miles and you go ahead and you book a trip to Australia, to Sydney, Australia from Vancouver, Canada. And you arrive, but you can route it with one stopover each way. So that means first class, you're flying from Vancouver to London. You can stay in London for as long as you want, and it doesn't have to be London, it can be anywhere. Stay in London for as long as you want, up to 6 months, I believe. Then from London, fly first class to Sydney, which is your destination, and you stay there for as long as you want, up to 6 months. And then on your return flight, you can fly to Hong Kong, stay wherever you want for up to 6 months, and then from Hong Kong, you fly back to Vancouver. It's routed as however you want. So it's a pretty cool deal, and you get 25,000 miles, I believe, for signing up for the Air Canada card. But then you'll have to start flying and do other tricks to get your credit card to get to the 100,000 miles. Let's see. Any other questions? Downloading the presentation. Hope so. I'm running some software to make it downloadable, so hopefully it'll work. Yeah, I think Dorian. I think that travel rewards are the best, especially with the way that I'm recommending it. That you do one-way tickets, international tickets. Those are really, it's really, really interesting. I think that the hotel rewards are not as beneficial, but they are useful. Starwoods has some really good hotel rewards. Yeah, Steph, they have started more recently not letting you get cards, every month. I used to be able to get the American Airlines cards every 3 months, 3 cards at a time. Now it's more like every 6 months. They'll cancel me for 3 or 4 months and then let me do it later. So you'll get rejected from some, you won't get rejected from some. It's just a game. Let's see. What sort of things do I put on charge cards? Basically, I have a British Airways card which has no foreign transaction fee, so that's my go-to card when I'm abroad because there's no foreign transaction fee. Otherwise, I spend most of my stuff with, everything I can buy on my foreign transaction-free card is with British Airways, and then everything else that I buy in the U.S. is with my Starwoods card. Let's see. All right. What about complaints to airlines to generate bonus miles for your account? Mark, that's a great question, and that's something that I love doing. Is my favorite thing is canceling my credit card, because when I call in to cancel, they'll be like, "No, listen, Mr. Sethi, we'd like you to reconsider. Please spend the next, spend 24 hours. Call us back in 24 hours. If you do this, then we'll credit you 3,000 miles to your account." I'm like, yeah, that's all right. You guys can credit me as much as you want. Call in and you can complain. This is also a great way to get out of any bank fees you guys have ever had. Call in and be like, "Listen, times are tough. I've been a good customer for the last year. Please waive my bank fee." And 100% of the time, they'll waive your bank fee. Things like that are simple just by calling in. All right, let's see. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to talk to you now about how I became a DJ in Warsaw. So this is how I became a DJ in Berlin. So this is a photo of me and my DJ partner Rockman, and we're DJing in Warsaw. And it was pretty cool because I got to, for the first time ever, achieve one of my dreams, which was becoming a DJ. And I had never, ever, ever DJ'd ever before I got to Berlin. And I hadn't DJ'd for the first 3 weeks in Berlin. And then I decided that I was going to launch this project, the 90 Days Project, how to become a DJ in Berlin. and in just 90 days. Has anybody here ever heard of the 90 Days Project that I mentioned a few times on my blog? Cool. Yeah, you guys have. Cool. So the 90 Days Project was this idea I had. I don't even remember how it happened, but I just decided I was going to become a DJ in Berlin, and I wanted to do it in 90 days because I like that number. And the videos are done, Hitch. They're all complete. I have 10 episodes, and I'll be putting them up in the next few weeks, week after week. I haven't started deciding on launch, but I can send you guys a couple videos if you want. So anyway, basically, we decided that we were going to become a DJ in Berlin in just 90 days, and it was, how are we going to get there? How are we going to go from nothing, from nobody knowing who we are, to becoming DJs and doing whatever we want? So the first thing was, we realized that it was going to be a different sort of ball game. It was going to be a game of developing an alternative sort of sales pitch. Like, everybody in Berlin is trying to become a DJ. Everybody in Berlin is trying to become a DJ, and everybody's getting shot down. Nobody gets club gigs. Nobody gets paid. Nobody gets to play where they want to play. So we decided to come up with an alternative sales pitch. Honestly, it's not the music, it's the marketing. And so I'm pretty excited to show this photo. I'm sorry, Mom, if you're watching. But this was our sales pitch, essentially. If you look in the background, that's me on the right. If you look in the background, you're going to see a shopping cart. And in the shopping cart is a sound system that we built inside of a shopping cart. We built speakers. We threw speakers and a lot of stuff. We started decorating it, and we started throwing parties in metro stations. We threw these parties in metro stations. People would come to these parties, and we would have people coming off the metro, and we'd end up having 40 to 50 to 60 to hundreds of people inside of a metro station dancing to our music. Then what we did is we started showing this off to a club that was nearby. And at the club, we would basically have, me and my DJ partner, one of us would DJ the show while the other person would play our shopping cart system in the metro station. And then we would bring people from the metro station to the party. We would bring the people from the metro station to the party, and then we would switch off. And then we were able to use that shopping cart system as a sales pitch for when we wanted to play at different clubs. Now another thing was trouble with the police. Hitch, we got in trouble with the police every single night. Probably half the nights we got in trouble with the police. In fact, one of the episodes of the 90 Days Project is when we threw a party on an abandoned boat that's in the middle of the canal. So you need a boat to get to the boat. So we had a small skiff taking people from the shore to the boat every 30 minutes or so. And we had this party, and I think 80 to 90 people came. And basically, at the end of the day, the cops showed up at 5 a.m. or so after 9 hours of partying on this boat. And the cops show up with this loudspeaker and this giant frigate, and they shout out in loudspeaker, "Please turn off the music after this song. We really like this song." I love the Berlin cops. And so has anybody here seen the Forbidden City video that I've been talking about on my blog recently over the past few days? You guys have seen it. If you haven't seen it, it's on the right side of my ManeeshSethi.com website right now. And I'm going to tell you guys this. This is just really private content for like the webinar. But basically, it's a very secret project we're doing. I'm not going to reveal this to anybody. But we're doing a Forbidden City project where we do something like we're basically taking over an abandoned building. We're going into an abandoned building that, like, we can't. We're going into an abandoned building. We are it's a 400-room abandoned building that is, I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it's a giant 400-room abandoned building the size of maybe 4 or 5 football fields. And there's security guards around it every day, and we've been going in at least once to twice a week. And we have diversionary parties outside of the main party. We're throwing a giant party on March 3rd. This is near San Francisco, and we're getting basically a diversionary party outside of it to make it look legit that blocks the sound. Things like that. As for being arrested, Hitch, I'm not really worried about being arrested because I'm not doing stupid things. But like, I'm not doing things that are really going to get me arrested, like things that are really bad. But if I'm going to get arrested for throwing an awesome party, I'll take it. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say one more thing about this. We were trying to figure out ways to figure out abandoned buildings in San Francisco, right? How do we find good locations? Where can we throw these parties? My friend had a great solution. He walked into the mayor's office with a suit on, and he goes into the mayor's office. He sits down with the mayor's assistant. He says, "Hello, My name is John Wilkinson. I'm from the city planning department, and we are doing a project. We need a list of all the abandoned buildings in this city, and without a single question, because he was wearing a suit and he acted like he knew what he was doing and he made eye contact, the mayor's aide gave him a list of every single abandoned building that exists in San Francisco. Walk, speak softly, carry a big stick, and walk with a suit, eye contact, and people will trust you. You know what I mean? All right. So I want to talk a little bit about how we got some bigger gigs around Europe. How did we actually get people to book us? How did we get paid gigs? This was cool. Social proof was what we did, and I'm going to show you right here. Ringworld Entertainment. Welcome to Ringworld Entertainment, a San Francisco, Berlin-based booking agency. This is a website I created. There's no Ringworld Entertainment. It's a website I created. But when I emailed or called different clubs in different countries, I would call as William from Ringworld Entertainment on behalf of DJ Maneesh Sethi, who was well known in Berlin and San Francisco for the music that he was doing. So people would see and hear that I had an agency, and they would understand that I would build a lot of Facebook fans, for example, and use different kind of social proof methods to bring in a lot of people, and they would trust me and fly me in and pay me. I got taken to Warsaw. I played a few shows all over. I actually played in San Francisco last week, and I played a ton in Berlin. So those were great ways to do it. And then let's look a little more about becoming a famous DJ. How you get there is by building a cool sales point. For example, deadmau5 would not be famous without his helmet. Building a cool sales point, building a shopping cart system, throwing parties outside, having awesome shows like and Tobin, if you've seen him, or Cascade or Skrillex. These guys throw huge, amazing shows. Their sales point is not the music as much as it is the show. So there's different ways to break through the system. Building a mask. I'm working on building a mask right now as I work on my DJ career. So there's different ways to do it. You got to promote yourself relentlessly, and you need to seem exotic. These are really, really important. Now, before we move on to making money with passive income, I want to talk a little bit about how we made €1,000 a night in Berlin. I actually recorded an interview that I'll try to send you guys the next couple of days. And essentially, when we got to Berlin, we were having trouble finding gigs for the first few weeks, even with our shopping cart system. So we decided, instead of trying so hard to get a club gig, we could get bar gigs, but we really wanted to play a deep club. Instead of trying really hard to get these shows, what if we just threw our own show? What if we took it from a different angle? So we called up the owners of the clubs. We called the owners of the clubs, and we started throwing our own show. We rented out the club. The club cost, I believe, €200 for the night, plus, that's $300, $300 for the night, plus $300 for the bouncers, and then we got paid we got paid the entire amount of money for the door. So however many people came through the door, we would make money of. So the question was, how do we get people to come to our show? So what we did is we did some niche analysis. We realized that music was really, really popular in Berlin, and minimal house techno was really popular in Berlin. Every club plays it every night. But what wasn't played as much was dubstep. It's a new type of music. Maybe some of you guys have heard of it. And it's not nearly as popular in Berlin as it is in the US or as it is in London. So we decided to throw a dubstep party. Now what we did was we bought Facebook ads. We bought Facebook ads on the right side of Facebook for people who are interested in dubstep DJs who lived in Berlin. And then we bought an ad for our show to a Facebook event. Now, what we did with this Facebook event was that we actually brought in really famous DJs, a guy named Mensa from the UK. We flew him in for the show, and we had an amazing show. Some people who are on this chat were at that show. I'm sure that you guys can tell us how many people there were. It was freaking intense. And we had a humongous party that was extremely successful. However, we lost a lot of money. We lost €100, $200 because we flew in this famous DJ. Now, step 2 was throwing the exact same party with the exact same Facebook event. We cut down our spending on the Facebook ads because we already had the Facebook event created, so we could sell to the exact same people. And we just threw the exact same party and said, hey, thank you for confirming to come to our last show. We'd like you to come to our new show, and it'll be at the same place on August 12th. And so we threw this party. We had a line outside the door for probably 50 people in line. We charged $10 to $12 per entrance, and we ended up making €1,000 in one night. And we DJ'd it ourselves. So that was really, really amazing. And it was a cool introduction to what you can do with Facebook ads, what you can do with social media, and how you can make money by using the techniques that people just don't understand exist. So that's an example. Cool. So now I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit. Actually, Hitch, that's interesting. How did I get these famous DJ skills, right? How was I going to do it? The fact is that I threw my first show 3 days after I opened my DJing software for the first time. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. It's really, really, really easy to do. I used an APC-40 and Ableton Live for my music. But generally, if you're going to be doing, vinyl and using vinyl or using CDJs will take you a little bit of time to get used to. We're talking vinyl will take you months and CDJs will take you weeks. But using Ableton Live along with an APC-40 controller or using Tractor along with a vinyl pickup, I don't have any photos of it on me right now. But if you do something with vinyl, with software at all, then it's really, 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 it's a week's project. You can learn it very quickly. So honestly, I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm an amazing DJ or anything. You guys should all check out my mixes. I would love for you guys to hear my music at soundcloud.com/Maneesh. So yeah, that is I just wrote it down for you. So I just actually released a mix yesterday when I was supposed to be working on this presentation. I'm gonna send that to you right now. And yeah, so this is the fact is, like, you do what you want to do and throw yourself into it, and that will get you there. I actually saw We Live in Public last week, Steph. It's really, really interesting, and we're thinking about, that was what influenced me to do this abandoned building project, the Forbidden City in San Francisco, and I'm thinking about making it a very similar We Live in Public project, an underground city where we'll film stuff. So, Steph, if you're interested, you should come. All right, cool. So, does anybody have any more questions about becoming a DJ or marketing our events using Facebook ads? All right, making money. How to deal with passive income and how to talk about how to travel and make money. And this is the biggest thing that's been a huge part of my life. How to travel and make money. How can you survive while you're traveling? The first thing you need to realize is that things cost less outside of the U.S. than they cost inside of the U.S. It's a huge difference. It's insanely, insanely different. The cost of living in the U.S. I've been spending $2,500 a month or so living like a normal person in San Francisco or New York. I spend $1,100 in doing everything in Buenos Aires, eating at the best restaurants, going to every club, doing whatever I wanted, and that was $1,100 a month. In India, I spent $300 to $400 a month living in a village, and in Berlin, I spent $1,100 to $1,400 a month. So the difference in cost is huge, and the fact is that the reason why people in the U.S. are afraid to travel is because they're afraid to accept a completely different style of living. When people so exactly like George said, if you are going to the developed world, it's more expensive than it is in the U.S. However, than it is in South America. So it's a matter of figuring out where you're going to go. Now, what are your goals? Are your goals really to see Paris, or is it to have like excellent cuisine? Because you can do that elsewhere. Is your goal to go to the most famous beach in the world, or to have a beach vacation? Because I went to, I lived on the beach in Brazil, in Salvador Bahia, on the beach, literally on the beach, and my rent was $330 a month for my own apartment. So there are different places you can go, and things are cheaper. In Thailand, for example, you can live and eat really cheaply, $400 to $500 a month, and you'll live like a king. The fact is that Americans have this 2-week thing that they only do things for 2 weeks. They only travel for 2 weeks at a time because they think travel is expensive. Once you get free tickets, and once you stop paying for rent in the U.S., then things are really cheap outside the U.S. And the fact of the matter is, once you start downsizing what you own, start traveling like you want to travel, that is going to be what changes things. So, all right, let's talk about how to travel and make money. So there's the first normal way of doing it is via freelancing. This is the way that I got started. I started freelancing while I was traveling. I started basically making websites for people while I was going abroad, and then I started writing blog articles for people while I moved around. So there's lots of jobs freelancing. For example, I've just wrote an article. This will be posted next week, called "How to Quit Your Job and Become a Freelancer Anywhere in the World." And this article is just about how to find freelancing jobs that anybody can do. So, for example, you can go to edufire.com, And that's a website where you can teach and learn things via the internet. Basically, you can sell your services as a tutor or anything like that. That's edufire.com. I'm typing this in right now. Yeah, edufire, edufire.com. So that's a good website for learning how to. That's a good website where you can sell things and sell your services. And other things for freelancing, you should be talking to people in your town. Other services that you already do, if you already have clients, you can talk to them. And yeah, so freelancing is a great way to make money. And honestly, I believe that our society is moving towards a freelancing culture where people sell their services and they don't work as a job at all times, because employers are starting to wise up and realize that they can outsource the work, and the work that they need done here, they can have it done by contractors. So I just got asked if I started freelancing before I started digital nomading. They basically started at the same time. All right. Okay, and so another way that you can travel and make money is by finding jobs while you travel. It's very common to be traveling and look for jobs while you do it. People who are young people can often find hostel jobs. I mean, anybody can find hostel jobs where you'll get free food and free rent, and they'll pay you a little bit while you travel. You can always look for jobs in your industry while you travel, because other countries need your knowledge, and a lot of countries really like Americans' knowledge, Americans' methodology of doing things. I just got offered, for example, to rent a club with a partner in Berlin, because they understand that my ideas for marketing are different than the marketing ideas for people from Berlin. So things like this, using your knowledge to spread it around the world, will allow you to make money. Things like that. All right. Other things you can do is you can try telecommuting via the internet. If you already have a job, there's no reason why you can't talk to your boss and see if you can continue to do your job while you travel. And the cool thing is that tax laws are great for travelers. This is really cool, really, really interesting. Check this out. If you live outside of the US for 330 days a year, you do not have to pay any taxes up to $95,000 per year. So if you're living outside the US for 11 months and you're earning in dollars and euros, and you're spending in pesos, and you're paying your employees in rupees, and you're not paying any taxes on any of that money, life is nice. So as I mentioned, think about it. It's a matter of jumping in, you know? It's a matter of doing things. If you want to try to travel, once you start traveling, you'll figure out a way to make money if that's your focus. No, you do not have to incorporate. You do it as a self-proprietor. Yeah. Okay. So any other questions before I talk about a little bit about internet marketing and passive income and such? About tax laws or about freelancing? All right. The last thing I want to talk to you about is about internet marketing. And the cool thing, as I just mentioned, I talked about using social media to book an event on Facebook and bring in a huge club gig. The cool thing is that the internet allows for some really, really awesome things. Now, this presentation is not at all about passive income. This isn't one of my how to make money online webinars. This is about taking advantage of the system. But people seem to be interested in this, so I want to talk about it. Basically, the internet allows for some really cool things, like I just mentioned with Facebook, and there's a way to build a business that makes money at all times. The world is forever connected. So, did anybody here read my Passive Income 101 article where I talked about different ways to make money online? The fact is that today's society is built around the internet, and the internet is a 100% 24-hour connected communication network. So there's no reason why a business that you build won't be earning you money all the time. But the fact is that most people are completely stuck in their old box, where they think only about how they used to get paid by the hour, so they have to work by the hour, and they must work for 20 hours before they can afford to buy an iPhone. They must work for 100 hours before they can afford to buy a vacation. The truth is that you need to be looking to build evergreen content, things that will earn you money for the rest of your life, no matter how long you have it. So there are different types of internet income, and I've worked with all of them, and I have thoughts on all of them. But the main ones are AdSense or ads, earning money by building websites that allows people to bring you traffic. Another thing is affiliate marketing, which is where you recommend products to other people. And you recommend products to other people, and then if somebody buys the product that you recommend, you get a cut.
I really like affiliate marketing because you don't have to actually do any work. You just do the marketing. You don't have to build a product. And that's really nice because you get you don't have to worry about customers or worry about dealing with complaints or service problems or anything like that. The last thing is product sales, which are really, really, really important and really, really interesting. Yeah, and so product sales are where you build your own product. It can be a realistic product like selling chairs or selling toilet seats, or it can be an information product where you sell courses. Those are different things. So the internet and passive income. Here's the truth. It doesn't happen instantly. And people who've taken my courses before some have been very successful, but the ones who are not successful are the ones who give up quickly. The ones who are very successful are the ones who continue to push through until they're successful. It takes time. So it takes time to build. It's not instant, and it is exponential growth. So for example, I earned $100 a month for months. Then finally, after a few months, I started earning $10 a month. After a few more months, I earned $100 a month. But the jump between $100 and $1,000 a month was much less time than the jump between $1 and $100 a month. And once you go from $1,000 a month, my jump between $1,000 to $5,000 a month was much, much faster than between $100 to $1,000. So if that makes sense, it's a very exponential process because once you figure out how to build customers, how to build a base, that will be what helps you make money. Yeah. So a little something interesting. Nick, you're asking me how much time is $2,000. For me, it took me about 7 to 8 months. It changes for everybody, depending on your business model, how hard you work. I was working very little. We're talking maybe an hour, maybe 5 to 10 hours a week. And it took me 6 to 7 months before I was making $1,000 a month passively that I still make to this day. So it is true. People have taken my previous webinar about AdSense and such. The Panda update has really hurt, and I do not recommend article writing anymore. It is a completely different game where you don't write hundreds of hub pages anymore to make income from people searching on Google. Instead, you build an excellent, high-quality, high-value website that provides value to customers, and you build a relationship with these people who are coming to your site. Instead of just trying to get a little bit of search engine traffic, you're trying to build a real relationship with these people. Yeah, so the truth is that once you have a source, it's amazing. It takes a long time to get there, but once you get that source, it's amazing. Now let's talk about how to get there, how to actually make money, how to actually figure out how to earn income online. And you have to start by brainstorming niches. So the first thing you do is you brainstorm niches. You think about what potential ideas are ideas that will help you earn money. What can you do that not too many people are searching for, it doesn't have too much competition, but enough people are searching for that you can earn a profit on it. So once you've done that, you start generating landing pages. A landing page is what people who are searching on Google will land on, what they'll click on, what they'll read, and then you start buying ads on Facebook, you start buying ads on Google to test these specific landing pages. So I mentioned the Facebook ads that we purchased for our event for our DJing event. I've done a lot of Facebook ad buys. It takes less than a minute or two to sign up for. And actually, I put a video in my most recent Passive Income 101 article that is all about how to buy Facebook ads. Tom, I'll be talking about tips for Facebook and Google ads in a moment. But the question is, once your landing pages are converting, now it's time to really get into making money because your landing pages cost you money. You're buying ads to get people to come there. You start building an email list. You start building a profit by building an email list. So people are coming to your landing pages and you start taking their email address. You offer them some kind of value. So let's say that somebody comes to your website because they really want to learn about, they're searching for something like a military, what do you call those things? Those fighting things those giant bags that you fight against. They really want to buy one of those giant sand fighting bags. You start building an email list about people who have fighting questions, about MMA, martial arts. Start finding people who are interested in this stuff. You build an email list of people who are interested in this stuff. You start basically providing value to these people. You start talking to cool people who are doing, surveying them, asking them what they want, helping them with what they need, and then you start recommending them products that they might use. Again, you're not trying to sell them crap they don't want. You're not trying to just make cash. I'm sure you guys have seen all these stupid emails from people who are sending you oh, hey, instant money transfer to your bank account today or whatever. That stuff is spam and it's crap. We're talking about building products that are really, really interesting. So you find those and you start building returning visitors. And once you have an email list, for example, you can start making them come. It's an active event. And once you got some email subscribers, you can start selling your own product. It's true. So you can use these customers to build a following. It's the hugest thing. So emails are key. On average, you'll earn about $1 per subscriber per month. So if you can build an email list of 3,000 people, you got $3,000 per month coming in. Not bad, huh? That's just you have to use those subscribers, but that's the basics. So anyway, that's mostly an introduction to online marketing that I wanted to talk about. I'm going to show you a cool photo that I love, and this is when I was the cover of India's largest tabloid, and they put a photo of me doing push-ups on the back of an elephant because I do push-ups in every country of the world. And it was only because I was able to build my passive income business that I was able to meet the journalist here. And it was really interesting because it was via my email list that I met her. And so I really recommend that you guys think about what kind of business model you're doing. If you already have a business in the US, for example, if you already have a real business, let's say a restaurant, you really should be thinking about how you're going to use social media to bring people to your restaurant. How can you throw events? How can you buy ads? How can you give away giveaways? How can you throw giveaways, give away things? How can you have contests? How can you be communicating with other people in your area and using that information to really make you a lot of money? So the last thing I wanted to mention is that I am finally, after 4 months of having the online marketing masterclass, which is my masterclass where I teach exactly this method. It has been not for sale as I was living in the wild and such. I'm really excited to relaunch it tonight for you guys. So this is a 4-module course. It's called the Online Marketing Masterclass. It's a 4-module course, and it is a course where we basically learn how to build an online business. And you start off with learning how to get started, how to brainstorm niches, how to use keyword analysis to find niches, how to in Module 2, you learn how to actually build a landing page, you learn how to bring people into your site. In Part 3, you're going to learn how to actually build a product. In Part 4, we're going to talk about affiliate marketing, selling to other people, etc. Actually, I believe those modules 3 and 4 are backwards. But so the Online Marketing Masterclass is for sale as of right now. I'm pretty excited because it's not been for sale for a while. And it's available today for you guys. You guys get a bigger discount than anybody else. It's Thanksgiving, and I'm pretty excited. So usually it's a $367 course. Tonight, and only tonight, for the next hour or two, it'll be $275. And the link is right there on your screen. http://maneeshsethi.com/online-marketing. That is the link.